What up, fam? Coach T here, and I'm back with a prep update. I'm 9 weeks out from my second show of the season. I'm competing for the first time in 10 years, and the first show that I did of this season and the first time in a decade was on August 15th, which was almost a month ago now. So in this video right now, I'm going to share insights on the judges' feedback from my last show, my headspace coming out of that show, coming into this show, what led me to the decision to compete again in this season, what my future plans are for competing, and what we will be doing differently this time. I'm going to share with you my nutrition, my cardio, and my training at a high level. And I'm also committed to sharing this with you week to week. Full disclosure, I said this in my last prep and I wasn't able to commit to it because prep just got the best of me. But I am fully committed now because we are in single digits and this is really when things get exciting anyway. So make sure that you follow for more and stay tuned for the weekly updates. So let's dive in. I want to talk about my headspace coming out of my last show and into this one because it's important to kind of set the stage. So first of all, the judges' feedback. Okay, so I made a post on Instagram. I did a live where I kind of went over my feelings, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper here. In my last show, I was on cloud nine leading up to it. From the prep to the morning of to like getting the tan, doing the hair and makeup, I felt amazing. And I noticed that fit model was a really small category. There was only 4 people. I thought it was 5, but I think it was actually only 4 because I don't remember a 5th person. So there was 4 people on the list. And I thought this is great because there's only 3 other people. My last time I competed like 10 years ago, there was massive classes for bikini. Like I remember them staggering us on stage in like, I think 2 diagonal lines. It was just like my class was the very biggest. It was like bikini, medium, tall. So anyway, this time it was completely different. I thought that was way better. And this whole time I thought, oh, I got this in the bag. Not that I think I'm better than everyone, but I just thought, oh, I did awesome. Like I did everything I was supposed to do and like, bam. So I get backstage and I met this one girl backstage who was really, really nice. And I knew she was competing in my category and she was the only person that I knew like barely. And then backstage, I saw the 2 other competitors and one of them, I was like, okay, she's going to win. But I didn't want to kind of like put that on myself. I didn't want to put myself in a negative headspace. I was just like, listen, all I can do is do my best. And that's really all I'm here to do. So that was right before I went out. And then when we got on stage, I was actually the first person to come out and do my individual routine. And when I did it, it's funny because I felt good. I did my deep breathing, just like my posing coach said. And then I get out on stage and I didn't freeze up in the sense that I didn't do anything. But honestly, I'm not a nervous person, so I've never experienced this. I got out there and just saw everybody and the judges all staring at me. And I just was so nervous. I remember moving through my poses and just thinking, oh my God, I need to just make it through this without falling over. I do not remember how to do this well, let alone I barely know what I'm doing here. And you only had 15 seconds to do the whole routine. That was one thing that I really wish I did and practiced is learning how to consolidate everything because it took me so long to transition and it took me so long to perform my routine in general. So anyway, I did that and then the other girls did their thing and then we came back out for the comparisons. And then I knew that the girl was going to get first callouts who was like she was just lean and like very conditioned and like she had massive glutes. I was like, this girl's going to win the show. And lo and behold, she was in first callouts. And then I was getting moved around. And again, there was only 4 people the first one we did was the true novice. So there was only 3 people. It was me and the girl that I met backstage. And then the other girl that I knew was going to win. And I came last out of those 3. And then it was me and the second place girl there was novice and then there was true novice. Okay. So, and then there was like the open. Anyways, I came last in the novice and true novice. And in the open, out of the 4 girls, like the total 4, I came 3rd. And that really got to me because by that time I knew that I was not going to win the show, right? Because I wasn't winning the novice or true novice. And then those same girls were going in the open with even more girls. So yeah, when I finished the show, I was very crushed by that. I'm not going to lie, because it was almost like everything that I thought was reality all of a sudden wasn't. Like I was like, I'm doing amazing. Like I'm going to crush it. And then I was like, I got nervous on stage. I obviously didn't have as good conditioning as I thought. At that time, I didn't really know why I thought it was my posing that did me. But then I look back later, I'm like, my posing wasn't that bad. It's not like I forgot what to do completely. In one of my transitions, I actually transitioned in a really sloppy way, but I don't think that's what did me in. And then I got the judge's feedback. And then right away, he was like, it was the conditioning. And then he was like, you got to like up the ante with your cardio. You need to build more glutes. And as he was talking, I remember it was almost like I was dissociating because I was like, oh, like I didn't think I was that far off. It's not like I thought, oh, I'm so perfect and I'm going to absolutely win the show, but I didn't think I was that far off. And then I got the judge's feedback video a couple of weeks after that. And then there was another judge giving it, and he said, you need way better conditioning. Like you look like you're about 7 to 8 weeks out from a show. And that really, really stung. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm sharing the ins and outs here. And obviously, like, you might say, oh, you asked for the feedback. I know, I'm not saying I wish I never got the feedback, but I think it's fair that it was really hard to accept that. And it was also it was not like I wasn't eating on my meal plan and I was missing my cardio and I was like slacking in areas. I gave 110%. So I thought I was ready. It's not like I was entering the show thinking, oh, conditioning's not great, but let's do the show anyway. I thought conditioning was on point, and so did my coach. It's a new category. They're still kind of like developing what the winner looks like or what the ideal is for, the standard, that's the word. And then later on, my coach and I kind of regrouped on that. So anyway, super long-winded. That's what happened. I was on this emotional journey. And for like the first 24 hours after my show, I didn't want to talk to anybody about my show because I almost felt like everybody was just saying like, you did it. And I was like, oh, like I'm not doing it just to do it. I did it to be competitive. And I realized I was highly not competitive. So I didn't want to get a reward just for showing up. Like then I sat with that for a while and I realized something. It is a big deal to just show up on stage for anybody. It's a very big deal. Why am I not giving myself a high five for that? Of course I came to be competitive, but like I also, in the process of training for that, got in better shape than I've ever been in. So it's not that I just showed up on stage. Like I deserve a pat on the back, like anyone on stage does. So yeah, I reframed that. And also the reason I want to do another show is because I realized I was very rusty from competing on stage. Not that I was that amazing last time. I was way worse actually 10 years ago. My arm was flopping everywhere. I was completely nervous, but I didn't think that I could even win back then. So now I'm like, I can't take like a year off from the stage. Also, like I have quite a bit of muscle, and some of the feedback he was saying, it wasn't really heavily focused on building more. Yes, in the glutes, but I don't need to do like another big long building season to be competitive. It was mostly the conditioning. So yeah, that's why I'm like, well, let me just maximize me already being relatively lean and do another show. So my next show is in November. And now I'm reframing my mindset going into that of I want to be better than I was last time. And I know everybody says that, but you have to actually feel it in your bones. So I am going into this thinking, as long as I do better than before and get myself out there, that's all that matters. I'm genuinely not concerned about the placing. Genuinely. Okay. I just want to do better. That's it. If I do better, that's all I can do. And I'm very early in my career as a competitor. So that's my headspace. So here's what we're going to be doing differently with the judges' feedback, and keeping in mind that I do need to come in leaner. One thing that my coach and I and the judges kind of all came to was that the cardio I was doing was not intense enough. I was doing brisk walking in addition to just normal walking. Like walking is not cardio, okay? Well, cardio is something that stimulates your heart rate, like gets your heart rate up at least a little bit. Like the intensity can vary, but walking is just like I'm going from point A to point B. That's just my side rant. So you can't say like I'm exercising, but I'm just walking my kids to school. That's not exercise. Anyways, I digress. I walk anyways, but I was doing a brisk walk with a consistent intensity for my 6 days a week of cardio. And now I'm going to be using cardio machines. Like I have a walking pad, but I need something more intense. I'm doing incline walks, treadmill, and a stair stepper. I would love to do a stair master because it's just awesome. It's low impact, meaning both feet on the ground, and it's not as heavy on the joints. And also you just set a pace and you have to keep that pace. So it keeps your intensity higher. But I don't have access to one of those. So I'm going to do a stair stepper, and I'm going to do a elliptical and an incline walk and switch those up. That's the change. I also have my coach up to my training volume. So between my two shows, like mid-August to now, this week was, I think, 3 weeks. And I was eating at 1,940 calories for most of that. I would say maybe for 2 weeks, I was at 1,940 calories. And I felt amazing. Like I felt like my normal energy levels were back. My lifts are feeling awesome. In that time, post-show, I went to a 5-day split and I really maximized increasing those calories. And we're going to keep the training volume at that level for now. My coach might make some modifications, but I'm on a 5-day split right now with 3 of those days being glute focused, lower body days, and then 2 of them being upper body days. And that's it. Oh, the last thing that I want to mention is my nutrition. So right now, my coach has put me on a deficit of 1,650 calories, very reasonable. Like That is my sweet spot deficit where I'm not suffering, but I definitely need to budget accordingly. And cardio is 6 days a week, 45 minutes, moderate intensity. And I got a membership at a community center, like literally right next door, to use the cardio machines because I don't have any cardio machines at home. We might add some HIIT in later on, she said, and that's good because I can do that at home on my air bike, or I have a punching bag and I have kettlebells and I have things like that. So yay. Another thing that the judges said actually that I forgot to mention was that I was looking really, really flat. And he said to come in fuller and carb load more, which we actually didn't do because we didn't want my muscle to look too full last time. So this is a good example of how I'm glad that I competed and got the feedback because great, my coach and I are both new to each other and I haven't competed for 10 years. So I need to see like what my carb loading strategy is going to be like. So that's going to be different leading up to the next show. I'm going to be leaner and we're going to carb load me sooner. We're going to carb load me, period. I had a carb loading meal last time, but that's it. It wasn't a full carb loading day and definitely not a carb loading week. I feel like I tend to overspill and like retain more water with carbs. So we'll see. I really not hope, but yeah, I hope I get leaner because I've never been that lean. I've actually never been as lean as I was for my last show. I got to 127 pounds and I'm 5'5.5" and my waist was 26 inches. And I was like super happy with that. And that was another reason that I was like, I can't let this get me down because I did do well for what I've never been that lean, but I need to get a lot leaner to be competitive. And I just realized that. So part of me is like, how the heck am I going to like lose, 10 pounds from where I'm at now, but I'm going to do it. And yeah, it's going to happen. So that's my limiting belief that's coming up. And I'm just recognizing that is like, can I do it? But I know I can because I did it the first time and that gave me the reinforcement I need. Oh, and with regards to posing, I definitely need to work on this. And I think it's not even so much the moves. It's just the flow and the transitions for sure. He said that I was kind of, whatever he said was messy on the feet or something. Like my feet were not, it was just, the posing was not good and it needs work. So yeah, that's one thing I'm going to be working on. I bought this posing course where she goes over the transitions and like the ins and outs. And I feel like I just need to like take that in. And then I'm going to just work on doing that. Not just like working on the main like front pose, back pose. It's the transitions that really get me and just making everything quicker. And especially in the lineup, that was when I was moving so slow and the whole posing just needs work. So I'm just going to work on that. That's putting in the reps. I also have decided that I want to compete more frequently going forward. So I'm going to be learning to do my stage makeup. I already am because number one, the timing of it is way easier when you can just do it on your own time, wake up on your own time, use your own makeup, and just make sure that you're even more rested for the show because you're not traveling to hair and makeup at like 5 a.m. for a 2 p.m. show. Also, it's like $250 at least. I think even more for like the company that does it. And that adds up. Like if you're doing 3 or 4 shows a season, I could be saving that money and competing more frequently. And I will be doing my own tan as well. So I've seen a lot of competitors in this Facebook group I'm in talk about doing their own tan. And I was always like, how could you do that? But a lot of pros are doing it even for pro shows. So I'm like, if it's good for them, it's certainly good enough for me. I'm sure I can follow instructions. It's like baking or cooking. When someone says, I can't cook, I'm like, can you follow instructions? Of course you can. You just need to practice. So I'm going to practice. I've been practicing a little bit already. I took a makeup lesson and I'm watching it again and again. And I'm going to repeat that for show day. I'll probably be getting another suit. I was going to just use my same suit. And then I'm like, I feel like I will, but I don't want to do that with back-to-back shows. And I want to try a different color. So stay tuned for next week because I will be sharing any updates to my training, to my macros, to my cardio, to my mood, to my mindset. Right now is the beginning of my second prep. So I feel like 10 million bucks. I'm sure that will change as time goes on. I'll probably be like diet face in the next maybe 2 months, but that's okay because that's how you know that it's working and I'm getting lean. And I'm excited to have you follow along. Subscribe and follow for more, and we'll see you in the next one.